Freetown, Freetown, oh, Freetown. At any time, Greenwich Mean Time, you're invited to come to Freetown.
Home of vibrant cultures and tradition, enigmatic ecosystems, and innovative hubs. Since its foundation, Freetown has been constantly transforming, and today, the Transform Freetown plan is pushing the city towards new existing initiatives. Dwazak and CKG are two lively neighborhoods of proven resilience, respectively hosting 20 and 16,000 inhabitants from the 70s on, and particularly during the Civil War. Urban immigration rapidly expanded both settlements towards Kingdom landfill and the deforested uphill areas. Yet, inadequate urban planning and lack of basic infrastructure exposed the dwellers to different urban risks.
CKG is next to Kingdom, a saturated, vast, open landfill daily gathering hundreds of waste workers. The previous aim of displacement is now shifting towards a purpose of regeneration, since its position has a crucial role for the community. Under other conditions, Dwarzak's steep uphill clusters like USA and Nigeria face the poor road networks, limiting the tricycle accessibility to solid waste collection. Although very different between them, downhill and uphill areas, together with informal recycling and tricycle waste collection, are complementary to the same waste flow. Indirectly, they reproduce regular and seasonal risks, such as floodings, in turn exacerbated by obstructed drainages. Also, outbreaks of waterborne diseases or solid waste burning cause health risks ranging from malaria to respiratory diseases. Globally, these conditions not only undermine Freetown's population, but affect the daily livelihood of millions, under the form of occupational hazards, the contamination of ecological systems, and the worsening of natural disasters. The COVID-19 crisis has shed light on the systemic inequalities shaping urban environments. A renovated attention on health risk raises concern on essential services that normally operate unnoticed. Hidden actors, daily addressing socio-economic and environmental issues such as solid waste management, are of vital importance for the metabolism of urban environments. Their work generates employment as well as business opportunities, and when recycling becomes a priority, other synergies like urban agriculture come into play. From a global perspective, the systemic and intensive production of waste is a relatively new phenomenon for the planet. Poor management is responsible for 90% of plastic marine debris, 5% of global emissions, and socially insecure working conditions for 50 million waste pickers. In line with this, Freetown City Council sanitation targets aim to achieve 60% of liquid and solid waste collection, management, and disposal, as well as 40% of plastic recycling by 2022. This research focuses on CKG and Dwarzak for their representative role in Freetown and globally in relation to informal recycling and waste collection to transit from linear to circular waste management systems. But who are these actors? How do they work? What are the opportunities to unleash their potential as crucial actors of the system? To answer these questions, this study has been developed along 6 months of research and 16 telephone interviews conducted with Freetown representatives from the household, civil, public, and private level.
In terms of the waste cycle, we find out that it is important to recognize the crucial roles of formal and informal actors. Starting from where the waste is produced, community households are considered as key actors in the circular cycle of waste. In Dwarzak uphill areas, due to the poor road accessibility for waste collectors, common practices in the community are to bury, burn, or throw their waste into streams or gutters. Regardless of this, the main type of waste collectors operating at a city level are private organizations, for instance Masada, tricycle microenterprises such as Despro, and youth groups like Clean Salon. They collect, transport, and dispose of waste from households or collection points to corresponding dump sites by tricycles or push carts. At dump sites, another key stakeholder are waste pickers. They sort and group recycling materials and sell them to recycling enterprises. During the health crisis, waste pickers are only able to trade with local recycling enterprises for fewer profits instead of international buyers, and they are rarely provided with protective equipment. Even though waste pickers remain the most vulnerable in the waste cycle, their socio-economic and environmental value by recovering materials should be acknowledged, especially in a country like Sierra Leone, in the absence of plastic ban policies, as other West African countries are practicing. To close the loop, the recycling materials will be transformed and reintroduced into the circular waste flow. This circular cycle highlights the importance of waste collectors and waste pickers in the system, as they are not only key service providers, but also have a crucial role in addressing environmental risks. We believe that the substantial recognition and the inclusion of these stakeholders are not only necessary, but the only possible way to address the Council targets, the increasing demands of solid waste management, and to interrupt the reproduction of socio-environmental injustices towards a just circular system. Therefore, the strategy here proposed is based on waste collection, recycling, and workers' organization.
In regards to waste collection, as mentioned, we focus the research in the uphill areas of Freetown, taking Dwarzak as an example of sectors with limited accessibility for collectors and a major source of waste accumulation in streams which affects the whole city. From the interview to the ward committee member, Brahma Bob Samura, we found that compared with the Ebola crisis, waste collection is improving by the support of Tricycle Youth Microenterprises and other youth organizations. The FCC Transform Freetown Initiative and COVID-19 Preparedness and Response Plan have promoted, recognized, and supported these groups. So today, households can rely not only on a waste company like Masada, but also on these microenterprises. These organizations are promoting youth employment while they are creating positive impacts in Freetown, cleaning the neighborhoods, and building a sense of community between the waste collectors. The FCC has provided the Find Me in Freetown website application that can help communities to find out their closest waste collection point. This application works by mapping the registered waste enterprises. Until June 2019, there were 364 solid and liquid waste organizations.
However, despite the efforts from the FCC to strengthen the waste collection, the support to each micro-enterprise and youth organization is still at different levels. To optimize their operation, there are opportunities which can be taken to balance the working conditions and to allow hard-to-reach areas to have a more appropriate waste collection. Firstly, all waste workers should be equipped with protective gear on a daily basis, in order to prevent health risks during the phase of collection, disposal, and recycling, with particular attention to the highly polluted environment of the dump sites. This is especially relevant in the context of COVID-19 in all West African countries, and it should be preserved over time in order to address occupational hazards and ensure equal health conditions of all waste workers. Secondly, improving communication between waste collectors and communities is crucial to have a consistent and frequent waste collection service. To support this communication, the Federation of Urban and Rural Poor support is needed, both organizing regular briefings with the community to summarize and explain information from Find Me in Freetown and establishing clear channels where household concerns are expressed and connection with microenterprises is made. This could help to address the specific waste challenges presented, and especially those situated in hard-to-reach areas, since microenterprises use more flexible vehicles and could adapt their services according to the community needs.
In this part, we navigate the FCC's role in the solid waste management system. Through our interviews with FCC, waste pickers, and collectors, we identified 3 key points. First, COVID-19 health crisis underscores the impact of the different levels of recognition on formal and informal key stakeholders. The waste collectors are recognized by the City Council and that their roles and responsibilities are outlined in the City Council's policies. On the other hand, waste pickers receive less recognition as they don't have the formal authority to work at the dump site and they're not provided with protective gears. Second, women have the double burden of taking care of their kids while working at the dump site. Third, FCC is faced with challenges in the management level.
But what we have been seeing that, for instance, if a budget is allocated, say, out of those budgets, maybe sanitation will just benefit maybe 5 or 10%, and the 90% will be focused on the health aspect, which we need to provide in support to the medical officers. So it's a very, very serious challenge for us.
FCC is already addressing the environmental hazard of the Kingdom dump site by transforming it into a sanitary landfill. pushing this to the next level and relating this project to the Target 2, it spotlights the strategic opportunity of building a recycling center in Kingdom. The center will increase the lifespan of the landfill, create quality jobs by empowering the waste pickers, and boost the circularity for a socio-environmentally just integrated solid waste management system.
It is suggested that the FCC Sanitation Committee could provide the recommendations and evidence to the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, who will approve the inclusive recycling policy. Further implement this policy. Provide protective gear and training to waste pickers and waste collection enterprises. Propose to fund international donors such as the World Bank to partly finance the recycling facilities, training and protective kits. Include the participation of recycling enterprises on the development of the recycling industry. Additionally, it is recommendable to strengthen the cooperation amongst different stakeholders to build up Freetown's integrated solid waste management circularity by ensuring the participation of the community by sensitizing and advocating on best waste separation practices, waste collection enterprises such as Clean Salon to dispose the waste in the landfill, the collective participation of waste pickers in the recycling center, who could sort the material and work in partnership with the recycling enterprises such as Le Plastiques and Shai Recycling, who will then locally transform the recovered materials. And by last, the international NGO Catholic Relief Services, who is best suited to train waste pickers on safe working conditions and waste collection best practices.
In order to strengthen the implementation of the FCC policy, we have found that building strong networks of collective organizations and developing robust communication and networking platforms can assist in achieving quality recognition. In Johannesburg, South Africa, we found that collectivizing waste workers in the form of a member-based organization called African Reclaimers Organization has created a strong alliance between waste pickers, residents, the private sector, and the government, which has unfolded a path towards increased reciprocal recognition. This organizational structure is a hybrid between a social movement and a trade union. Through regular inclusive meetings, where waste pickers are democratically represented, transformative change has been seen as a result of increased workers' political power in order to obtain financial support, facilitating better working conditions, which contribute to improvements in health, raising social status and self-esteem, and facilitating the development of networks. In the case of Bogotá, Colombia, the ongoing struggles to defend waste pickers' right to work was spearheaded by Bogotá Waste Pickers Association. This collaborative effort allowed them to present a united front towards the government, which as a result led to a body of legal rulings in their favor. On one hand, waste pickers were granted the status as subjects of special protection in light of their vulnerability, while on the other hand, ordering the municipality to include them in the municipal waste management system. As a result, they were recognized for their contributions and services to the city and integrated into the system through collection, transportation, and recycling services. This entry point proposes to build a member-based organization in Freetown by urging the more than 200 waste workers to collectivize across waste management practices in context of the already existing spatial alliances between SLURC, FEDERP, and smaller associations. A strong MBO structure provides an entry path towards building a strong network for communication with other such bodies on a global scale. This can assist in bridging knowledge gaps and act as a strong support system in times of health crises such as COVID-19 and Ebola.
As mentioned by the FCC, the most challenging aspect of the integrated solid waste management system in Freetown is the financial sustainability. We recommend exploring the local tax scheme that funds waste management, as done recently with the revamped property tax in the city, to ensure the financial sustainability coming from the local treasury with less dependence from the international funding. Due to the limitations of the virtual fieldwork, it was difficult to engage with all stakeholders. Hence, we suggest exploring the roles of recycling and collection enterprises such as Le Plastiques and Shai Recycling, Youth Tricycle Enterprises and Masada, to better understand their level of recognition and the emerging relationship opportunities. In the case of the Colombian and South African waste pickers, showed how through engaging in participatory spaces, organized workers have managed to advance the notion of public and contribute to greater state responsiveness to their demands. We suggest researching what dialogue, organization, and participation the waste speakers has done in order to be recognized by the recycling policy under construction. This would be paramount to understand if further socio-environmental just spaces emerges in Freetown's integrated solid waste management agenda. Lastly, the substantial recognition and inclusion of these stakeholders is not only necessary, but indeed the only way to address the Council's sanitary targets, the increase in the demand of solid waste management services, and to disrupt the reproduction of socio-environmental injustices towards a just circular waste system. This is only possible when collective workers gather around for a common purpose. As in words from Eli Kodesan from the African Clearance Organization,
we can only win, we can only progress only if reclaimers speak with a collective voice. Organize, organize, organize.